We're creating an excuse or a crutch within ourselves, and you can do anything. If you want to change your health, you can 100% do it. And joining a program or a support group or something where people are there to support you, to know that you are not alone, it just takes one step, and it can be slow. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be huge goals. Maybe you have your first goal just to drink your water. So no matter where you're at in your health journey, you can always improve.
Welcome to the Bold Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Kinnell, and this is a space where bold moves meet inspired action. Join us as we dive into stories, strategies, and mindset of those who are building their dreams, creating impactful communities, and redefining success on their terms. Whether you're looking for practical business tips, a boost of inspiration, or a community that gets your vision, you are in the right place. Get ready to elevate your journey and embrace what it means to be a bold founder. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Bold Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Kinnell, and today's episode is one every entrepreneur needs to hear. As business owners, we are so focused on growing, building, and doing all the things that sometimes we forget that the real foundation of our business is us. It's our energy, our wellness, and our ability to keep showing up. So that is exactly why I invited Michelle from Nutrition by Michelle to join us in for today's conversation. So Michelle is a nutrition consultant with over 10 years of experience helping clients across Canada and the US achieve their wellness goals. Before that, she spent 19 years as a massage therapist, and now she brings her passion for health, food, and lifestyle together to help people thrive from the inside out. She even transforms our favorite meals into nutritious, flavor-packed versions that still hit the spot. But what I love the most about Michelle is how she's taken something as simple as free nutrition challenges and turned them into a thriving community. She's built a funnel that not only nurtures her leads, but genuinely supports people on their health journey. Her Facebook group is active, encouraging, and full of people showing up for themselves and each other. And I knew I just had to have her on the podcast to share how she's done it, how she's created this community, and also how we can take better care of ourselves. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Amazing. Okay, so I want to start off. Can you just share a little bit about your journey with us so the people who've never stumbled upon you yet, they get to know kind of like how you became where you are, like why you left massage therapy to join more of the nutrition world. I'd love to just hear that aspect.
Absolutely. So I grew up in a very middle-class family on a very strict budget for food, basically, is how it all started. And based on that, my mom was given $200 every 2 weeks to feed a family of 5. And you can imagine what that was like. So lots of canned veggies, lots of pastas and starches. And what ended up happening was it created a bunch of obesity in my family as well. And it created stuff where we almost, I was scared I wasn't going to get food. There were so many times, my mom and dad always fed us. I want to really stress that. But with inside me, I would worry about when is my next meal? When am I going to have food? Especially as I got older. And I didn't realize that was a problem until I got into nutrition. My mom has had cancer 3 times, as well as she's had a heart attack. And every time that she goes into recovery or finds out she has cancer, she ends up changing her diet. And that was also a trigger for me constantly was I have these genes, but I don't want them triggered. And why does mom change her diet every time that she gets sick? And so we have 10 women within our family that have had breast cancer. We do have the BCRA2 gene, and I am lucky enough, I am negative for that gene. But I also have a bunch of the other health problems that we have in our family, and I wanted to keep them on the down low. I didn't want to activate them, and nutrition is a big part of that activates those. So that was kind of how I got my mind around nutrition. I went away, I moved out at 18, went away to college, and when I was in college, it was kind of this trigger of what do I eat and how do I eat? And it was a constant struggle. It was I'm gaining weight. Everyone knows about those college 15, 20 pounds. Mm-hmm. And how do I get healthy? And I was constantly going to the gym, but I just felt like I kept putting on more and more weight. But it was also a fact that I didn't have much money to eat. So it was, how can you create balance within a budget and then still eat the proper food? And that's what I love to teach my clients about as well. So I started in a whole different pathway, decided I wanted to help people. I was working in an engineering office. I decided, I wanted to work with people either in nursing or massage therapy. got into massage therapy, absolutely loved it, and just continued my education nonstop. I was going to course after course. I'm probably certified in 15 different things through massage therapy. I had a practice in Leduc first and had owned that for 7 years. It was thriving and successful, and I wanted to end up raising my kids and spending a little bit more time with them. And so we relocated, moved to where my husband's job was, and I was like, I'm going to work for somebody else. I'm going to work in the massage field for a while. And that just sprouted on, I'm constantly helping people through body work, but there's a piece missing. So they can come to me, I can help them, and they can feel good in that moment. They can feel good for a week, but they're constantly coming back. And I can fix certain parts, but I knew there was an underlying layer to that. And that underlying layer is nutrition. And that's when I decided I've been doing in this field for so long, my hands were starting to wear out, and I thought, no, I want to do something else. I want to access the other part of our body system and how to heal people from the inside out. So went back to school for another couple of years, took my education out of the US, and also had 3 kids I was raising at the same time. So I'd lock myself in the basement and go back to school for that. And I love to cook. I've always loved to cook, and I love to feed people a lot of food. So when you would come to my dinner table, prior to me doing my nutrition courses, I would give you a steak the size of your head and potatoes and like massive amounts of food. And that was almost my way of showing people love. I love to serve them and I love to feed them. And I thought, how can I change the way people eat the things that they love, but in a healthy way? And so I took my twist on how I love to be in the kitchen. I love to cook for others, made that little bit of a twist, and then implemented it into my nutrition plans to help people. As a result, I feel that we can heal ourselves from the inside out. And again, those people that still need body work, absolutely, there's a reason for it. I have retired from massage just because I'm way too busy with nutrition. But there's reason for both of them. But nutrition is something, if you're constantly getting body work done and you feel like you're not having that next step, we might need to look at the nutrition. Is it causing inflammation in your body? Is it, things are not healing properly? Even that muscle growth or muscle regeneration is not healing properly just because of your nutrition.
Oh, I really like how your journey has really flowed so naturally, but you've listened to all the little inklings, but also it's been you've gotten so much from your family and your upbringing and the thought process of taking care of yourself because you've got some of those genes or some of those things that are happening within your family around you. You have really taken all those influences and really brought it back home to your journey. And I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And part of that was my kids too. And I'll say this, my son would be okay if I said this, but he was built a little bit bigger, and he was built like a lot of people in my family and the struggles that I have. And he would say, Mom, why do I eat so healthy? But all the other kids are so thin at school, and look at me. And I look at him and say, that's because you have so much muscle in your body. I never want it to be about the weight, but you have so much muscle that you need to strive yourself on that and keep eating the way you are. So knowing that I had kids that had the genes of some of our family members, and same with myself, is that I wanted to correct that for my kids too. And not in a way of it being about weight, but a way of it being about health. And it has worked. It is, knock on wood, I have teenagers now, and they thrive on nutrition, and they bring their friends over to answer questions or throw them on the body scan machine. And it's if I had that knowledge when I was going to college, I think I would have been in a different spot and just been able to eat a lot healthier and nourish my brain and body in that sense. But for now, my kids to be able to look at that and want to do that. And now my daughter wants to do the same type of work I do. She said, I think I was born and raised, Mom, this way on learning how to eat, how to cook. And now I want to help people do the same as you. So it does. It trickles on for sure through the family.
Well, and I like that you're doing that and you're teaching that, because it's nutrition is not an easy thing. It's actually quite a confusing thing nowadays, where it feels like you're being told you should eat this way, you should eat this, you should not eat this much protein or whatever it is. You hear a lot of diets and trends that are going on, and even what is on the packaging of products in the store, it can be quite confusing. And so I think it's really nice that you're breaking this down but simplifying it, but not in a way that makes you feel like you're inadequate or there's that weight loss aspect to it. I like that you're changing the phrasing on it and the mindset.
Yeah, and I never want it to be about weight loss in that aspect for people, is that it's a journey of health. And one of the most common questions I get asked is, can you help me come up with my goal weight? And I always say, when you look in the mirror and you love what you see, you know you're at your goal. It doesn't have to be your BMI that the doctor gives you or a certain weight that you're supposed to be because you think you should be. It's about how much muscle do you actually have, and what is your bone mass, and where do you feel your best and your healthiest, right? And there is so many fad diets out there, so many. I mean, they work temporarily, but often I see those clients come back to me and say, how do I get off of this keto diet? How do I get off this? I've been fasting forever and I want to learn to eat again because it's not working anymore. And that's what will happen is they'll get onto these fad diets. It'll work temporarily. And then they actually need to learn how to eat again so they don't gain all the weight back. And that's what I specialize in, is how to eat with balance and how to properly nourish your body.
Yeah. Okay, so when you first started, you started using challenges, which you still do use now, as a great way to support your audience and then bringing them into your community. So how have those challenges evolved into a community and also kind of your client funnel now?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started, and people will laugh at me for this, I wanted everything on paper. I thought that the digital world was not a way I wanted to go, and people could copyright, and how could I keep this contained? So I worked out of an office here in town, in the small town I work in, and you had to come see me. So my first group was 15 people. They all came into a room, and I called it a challenge, and I gave them a pamphlet, not even a pamphlet, a book. And the book had all the recipes and their menu plans and all the information. And then they would come and weigh in then, and at the very end, they'd come weigh in again. The problem was I could only access people within a couple hours around me. And more of their friends would say, I want to work with you. How can I work with you? So then we rented a hall in Red Deer, and we decided, okay, we'll fill the hall with people. There was so much interest. So we filled the hall, and we had 50 people attend, and they wanted to do a cleanse. So we did the cleanse, handed it all out, all the information, and then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, everything shut down. People still wanted nutrition, and this was kind of, in a way, a blessing for me. I was forced into the digital world versus me being so scared about people having all of this information, and I was so worried about copyright and whatever else, that it was like, well, now is your chance. You have to do this. There's legal aspects that you can protect yourself with that, but now is the time to kind of shine in the digital world. So made everything digital, opened up my challenges, and it blew up. It was first about 175 people, then the next one doubled from that, and the next one doubled. We were seeing a 200% growth for 3 years. So every challenge I did, there was another 200% growth. It was absolutely insane. Super thankful for those clients at that time. It was a time that people needed a community, right? They needed to see people and needed a community. Mm-hmm. So that's how my challenges started to become online. I created a Facebook group for them, and that was their community that they came to answer questions. It allowed me to answer more questions for more clients. And if you had a question, most likely 10 other people had the same question. So it was a way that I could access everybody within those. Now we go to today, and the same kind of thing is that the challenges, they're huge. They're a huge amount of people, but I try to still be able to access or complement every single person that's coming into that group. So if you have a question, you're going to have it answered. And in today's world right now, we need community. There might be people at home that don't have support from the loved ones around them. They might not have support from friends or family, and we become their support system. So everyone within the group is there to cheer each other on, motivate each other, and I want it to be the most supportive place that they can go for part of their journey. So it has evolved in that. Facebook may be kind of an old way of doing things, but honestly, it has worked amazing for us. There's people that are not on Facebook or social media, and they join and create a platform just so they can join in the challenges, and they always look back and they're like, I'm so glad I did this, right? It's not that I want them on more social media. It's just that I want them to feel supported throughout their whole journey. Now, saying that, we do have a background. We do have a portal system that people weigh in and do all their contact with me, personal stuff that they have. So they still have a portal system that they can access all their information and everything on.
Okay, that's really cool. As much as COVID and the pandemic was the worst thing really ever for so many people, it was also for me and for you also, it's such a blessing because it really did force you in a new direction and one that you were resisting. And I don't know, sometimes I just look at that and I'm like, oh, thank goodness it happened at the same time, because look where you're at, look what you've created, look at the community that you've built because you were able to create this new platform for people.
Yeah, I'm truly I know it wasn't a great time, but it did push me out of that comfort zone, and it definitely allowed me to to branch further than I probably ever thought I could. I was also working in a small office and had a few staff working for me just from their homes. And it also branched us to be like, okay, now is time. Now is time to build our own building and have all our staff come here. And the doors just opened. I honestly think the more people you help and the more that the community brings together is the more doors open, right? So people were coming to me saying, could I please work for you? I want to work for you. So that has brought the most incredible staff to my community as well.
That's very cool. So I want to talk a little bit about the Facebook community itself, because Facebook, I don't know if some, like for me, every time I've had a community, I'm like, it's so much work to have this community going. So I would love to hear how you have created this community to be so engaged and supportive. And like, what have you intentionally done to make this space thrive?
I love that question. So I have 14 ambassadors that work for me across Alberta and Saskatchewan. So to be an ambassador for me, you must be living and eating healthy and following the program for at least a year. So it kind of becomes part of your lifestyle. And it kind of becomes second nature to you. They become experts in the group. So they're not on payroll, but they are gifted things. So I took them all to the Pink concerts and did things like that for them. We become a community or a team on the side that is really, really close. And then they help me coach the people within the group. So there's 14 ambassadors, there's 6 staff members as well. So they're also labeled within Facebook as experts. And so you can put a title on them, and as an expert, then they're answering questions. I will admit, when I am running challenges, I am working 7 days a week, and I am sometimes working around the clock. I've had to create boundaries within myself because I could stay up all night on there answering questions because I feel I want to help everyone, right? But coming up with boundaries for myself is that, yes, I can answer questions, but I still have obligations. I still have to get a whole bunch of other work done. I still need to get proper sleep and get my workouts in and things like those. So again, having that community within that help. There's also clients that have worked with me for years, and those people love to answer questions because they know. And so it makes everyone feel, those new people feel supported, but it makes my kind of, we call them lifers. It makes the lifers also feel important because they know the question, or they know the answer to the question. So I do love the community in that essence, is that a lot of the lifers are in there that are willing to help as well as the ambassadors.
Oh, that's very cool. Okay, so a question I also wanted to ask, just based on that conversation, is, okay, so you've got new people that are coming in all the time, but then you have like your lifers. So how are people, like, they're coming in, but they're constantly going through the challenges all again and again together, or are they able to move along with you within the challenges in the funnel, and like how do they work with you throughout the whole system?
So they do, I would say some of my lifers, we're going to call them lifers.
Yeah.
But they do find it frustrating sometimes, is that they have to start at the beginning. And when I say start at the beginning, they have the knowledge, but each of my programs, a challenge only starts in September, January, or May. So there's only 3 a year that they can join in. Their first 2 weeks, there's all the new people, and they're the same type of questions that always happen. And I say we answer them with grace and with love, because maybe they're starting out from a place they have no idea about. But we move together from there. So those clients that have been with me for a while, they always want to jump on a cleanse. Like after summer and you've had all the food and the drinks and, you've been out camping and stuff, they want to do a cleanse. So they don't mind jumping on a cleanse. And the same thing in January, we do it after Christmas because we want to do a little bit of a cleanse to our bodies. So even though they're starting at square one, they just maybe don't have the questions that are in it. And they can stay out of Facebook group, or they could look at, I also have a feature in there called Featured, and it's only my stuff under Featured. So they never have to read everyone else's questions if they want. It tends to work amazing, as well as we've come up with a new Platinum membership too. And the Platinum membership, they also have their own separate groups. So they're not always dealing with new people coming in. They're the ones that are progressing through the whole year together.
Oh, that's amazing. I think that's so awesome that you've really thought about, okay, welcoming in new people, and especially with your community, supporting you with ambassadors and then the lifers, and like that really it's that wrap your arm around you moment. I think that's really powerful that you've created that. And then I love that you've created like a place for them to continue on working with you in maybe like a level that is more progressed, because they've already gone through, like you said, the beginner questions, and now they just want, like, obviously you're probably like, you're still coming up with more nutrition, more amazing recipes, so they're getting access to that. They're getting more knowledge from you. So I think it's great that you've created like an additional space for your members.
Thanks. Thank you. And I would like to say, there's some that are in there for weight loss, and there's some that are maintenance, and there's some that are in it just for the recipes. So there's always new recipes. So if you're a lifer and you hit a maintenance point and you want to just keep, having that support group and just having new recipes, that's what it's also about too.
Well, and I think you've built like that community, that friendship within there. So then they're used to coming in and sharing their stories and cheering their friends on. And so that's kind of a nice community that you've built within this.
Thank you.
Okay, so for business owners that are listening who are juggling a lot, what's one simple way that they can start to prioritize their health?
I would say the number one thing is drink your water. Get your water in and extra water in. We always say 4 liters, and it might sound like a lot, but drink because you have to, not because you're thirsty. And you will automatically see the difference between your skin, your mind, your clarity, and just cleansing your body out. And the other one with that is 30 minutes of movement, intentional movement in a day. So as hard as it is, I sit at a computer too for a lot of the day, and we implemented something in our office where in the middle of the day we say it's walk time, and no matter where we're at, we stop. And sometimes some of the girls will be like, no, I can't, I got this going on. It's like, what is 10 minutes to go outside and walk, right, if the sun's out? So 30 minutes of intentional exercise. It could be anything. It could be stretching. Like if you just don't have the manpower to do cardio, you're going to stretch, or you're going to go lift some weights, or you're going to go for a walk with a family member. Just anything to move your body. It is the biggest stress reliever too, especially for people in business, is get up and move and walk, do something, clear your mind. It will work as, in that antidepressant type of mood, or for your antidepressants. It will work to relieve your stress levels, especially if you're dealing with a lot at that time. So those would be the first 2 things I would do just to get yourself moving. And the other one you can do, there's a lot of food prep companies out there. There is so many nutritious foods that you can do. So people will often contact me and say, I have no time. Like I'm at work for 14 hours a day. I have no time. I'm like, but we still have to eat. No matter what we do, we still have to eat. So it's all up to you. It's your choice on what you decide to eat. So if you had to use a meal prep company to start to develop or consume like healthier options for you versus fast food, then do it. Because the clarity you're going to get from eating nutritious food is going to help you all around in your business.
I love that because it goes right into my next question. So you're talking about nutrition supporting you with our bodies in terms of that clarity, our energy, our confidence. Can you expand on on that a bit more?
So many of our vitamins or minerals come from our foods. And so if we're not consuming the right foods, we're not having the right level of nutrients coming into our body. So for example, I'm going to talk about fast food. So if you're eating the cheeseburger, the fries, and the Pepsi, and that is a huge amount of calories, 2,000 calories coming in one meal, heavy, heavy fat, you're going to feel lethargic. So if that was your lunch and you're an entrepreneur on your own, you have so much to do on your to-do plate, and you're eating something like that, you're just going to want to have a nap. Your body's going to feel heavy, tired. But if you were to go and eat something, a really nutritious soup off of my program, and fuel yourself properly, and it's full of veggies, so it's going to have a lot of your nutrients that you need and your vitamins and minerals, your clarity is going to feel like your mind is just going to feel so much clearer, right? Your energy level is going to increase, so your productivity is going to go up. So I know you took the work to make the soup, but maybe you supplied yourself with 6 different meals it's going to provide you with. You took the time to do that. But in the end, you're going to gain so much more energy and just the mindset. So just having a clearer mind to get more work done and keep your energy levels up. It makes the world of difference. Can I share a quick story?
Oh, of course.
Okay. So I had a couple in their 70s, and the wife had got to a point where she used to cook for everybody in huge groups, and she wasn't cooking anymore. And she was sitting on the couch, not doing anything. And they got on the program. She started first. And the next thing, she was out in the woodworking shop with her husband. She was out in the yard. She was doing gardening. She was cooking for people again. And he said, we were at the point where we were eating out all the time. So the husband has a heart condition as well. And he approached me and gave me a card and wanted to give me a hug. And he said, you gave me my wife back. And he said, at one point, she didn't move. It was almost for a year that she didn't move off that couch, and you gave me my wife back. She is out in the woodworking shop with me again. She's moving her body. She's now cooking for us, and we eat together instead of eating out. And that has continued. She has worked with me for probably almost the full 10 years and constantly, is giving it effort. I'm not going to say full in 100% all the time, but she's giving it effort so that her body keeps up and that she has the life in her 70s that she wants to have right now with her husband. So to me, that is so rewarding to see.
I think that's incredible because, as you know, I've been going through my own health journey in terms of being super burnt out, having no energy. And so, my main focuses really has been, one, to start moving more often, which is really helped. So I've been like working out in the morning. And then it's also progressed into like changing my work schedule and some of the things that I was doing. I've decreased my workload. But I feel like it's an ongoing thing. And I think that my next thing that I've been starting to trickle in and tackle is that like nutrition aspect, because there are certain things, like you said, you go and eat fast food and you do feel sluggish, you feel tired, you just want to sit on the couch, versus eating something that is very nutritious and good for you. You get an energy from that. And so I think it's really important for like everybody, but also entrepreneurs, to start thinking about, okay, you're pushing yourself all the time. How are we making sure that we have the fuel within us to be able to continue on and achieving these goals and making time for our family and all the things that we really love and value?
Yeah, absolutely. And burnout is real, right? When it all of a sudden it hits you, it takes so long to recover from burnout that nutrition is that piece that is going to provide you with so much more energy as well with it.
Yeah.
It's huge. The amount of people I get and success stories of people, I've gone off all my medications now. I no longer need blood pressure pills. I no longer need diabetes medication, right? Like it's incredible what they can do just by targeting their nutrition. And it is that piece that people sometimes don't think is very important. But once they do it, they realize how good they feel. And I always say healthy is addicting, right? When you feel good, it's such an addicting feeling to keep going with it. So.
Okay, so what do you say to the people that are like in like the mindset where they want to start tackling their nutrition and what they're eating, but it honestly sometimes can feel overwhelming? Like when I think of challenges, I think, okay, I'm gonna have to buy all this stuff. Is my family gonna eat it? Is it gonna be really expensive? Like, I'd love for you to tackle that mindset, because I think that is a limiting belief that a lot of people have.
Yeah, and it is. Actually, that's probably the number one question we get. Or when people start, they'll be like, my family's not eating this, I'm making 2 meals. And I'll say, why? Why are you making 2 meals? Like, these are all recipes that are tried and tested on my 3 teenagers and my husband, who is a meat and potatoes guy. So I do create the recipes around things I think they would like. There's not everything. I don't expect everyone to like everything. But you need to have that aspect that you're targeting different age groups and different categories. In the beginning, if you are not eating healthy, it may feel like a lot that you're going to buy at the grocery store. So it may feel like a whole bunch of new spices and a bunch of new things, but we're going to reuse them. And I make that a goal of mine, especially as the increase in groceries has gone up since last January. It has been substantial. And so if I've implemented something in, so apple cider vinegar or vermicelli noodles or something like that, I'm going to use it up. So I'm going to keep putting it in the menu plan so that it is used up, so that you don't have all this waste in your cupboards. So again, your first week, it might feel a little bit like, oh, this is way more than I would normally buy. But then lots of clients post like, my groceries only cost me $30 this week. And that might be for a single person, but they have everything else. They just had to buy some fresh veggies and maybe some meat, right? So in the end, it lowers. If you're not eating out, your cost of groceries lowers like substantially.
Yeah.
But people aren't looking at that. They're not keeping those receipts. And once you have all the healthy ingredients in your house, you're just reusing them, but using them in different recipes. When it comes to family not eating, if you have a picky person in your house, I say show by example. Eat by example, right? You're going to keep eating those. And if they're not, but that's all I created. Like, I think that's honestly one of the biggest mistakes we make. And not to criticize, but when we make a whole bunch of different meals for everyone in our family, it's taking time off of us. We're busy. It's exhausting as a mother or a caregiver. Why are we doing that, right? Yeah. So all kids are not going to want to eat veggies. Like, there's not normally a kid that's like, hey, mom, cook me some broccoli and some beans. Like, that's what I want. Yeah. But usually if it's there and it's something that they have to have, they're going to start having it, and eventually they're going to enjoy it. So it's something that we have to constantly implement. I'm sure my kids' friends even get annoyed when they walk in. I'm like, have you had your vegetables today? And it's just kind of an ongoing joke. Like, my son's girlfriend will walk in and say, Michelle, I had veggies today. So, but you know, she will go without eating vegetables. And she's openly told me that, like, I don't eat vegetables. So again, now just having that conversation, and it's a fun conversation. She's now implementing it into her diet. So if you have those people at home that you think will not eat this food, show by example. And eventually, I will tell you, probably 90% of the people in the house end up starting to eat like you and actually enjoy it. So there's still like steak and potatoes, but it's the quantity. It's the amount that you should have of protein versus your carbs and your fats. or we have pita pizzas, or we make like a homemade pizza crust and make a pizza. So you still get those yummy things, but it's how much cheese do you put on and what kind of proteins are you putting on. So you can still have everything. It's just having the right quantities and then figuring out your macros. So you're never having to do the calculations, because it's a science. I do that for you so that all you're doing is following what I've put in a menu plan to keep you healthy and excited, hopefully, about the next meal.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that, okay, yeah, I'm going to make this healthy meal, but then you're putting on what you're loving probably more, but like could mean that you're eating too much of one thing and it's not actually creating this healthy diet anymore, because now you've put your whole thing off kilter. And that was one of the things that I had a hard time with when I was originally like looking at what I was eating and the portion sizes, and just starting to learn that was kind of amazing, because we're just not taught that. We just fill up our plate and you should clear the plate.
Well, think of how easy carbs are. Like, they're so easy to get. They're so easy to pick up. You find them absolutely everywhere. I was just traveling in Vegas the last few days, and I constantly think about nutrition. Like, I analyze everything, every place. I'm like, oh, what could I eat that would be a little bit healthy? But we were stuck. So for snacks, normally I would bring protein powder with me and shake it up in the room. But we all know there's not fridges there and stuff you can use. So I just thought, let's go with it and see what happens. Well, my proteins end up being, you could, for a snack or for lunch, it was like you could get a burger, you could get chicken fingers, which are deep fried. And the odd time I could find like a chicken skewer, but I still didn't know what was all on it. And yogurt would be vanilla, which was full of sugar, but maybe didn't have any protein in it. So it's like, where are our proteins? And I challenge people too, especially those busy entrepreneurs, when you said, what are some changes you can make, is ask yourself first, what can I have for protein? Because we're usually lacking protein and filling it up with carbs, because carbs taste amazing. And they also are fillers, right? They're cheaper, they're fillers, but what can we have as protein? So again, implementing those into your diet slowly and without eating out all the time too.
Okay, so what do you say for the busy entrepreneur or household? Because for us in our house, like, we are, as soon as like the kids get picked up from school, it's like a race. John and I are just passing each other constantly. Like, you're going to hockey, I'm going to volleyball. I'll see you like at 8. Like, so how do you help or support homes when they are barely home enough to actually prepare like a full healthy meal every night?
So first of all, I totally get you. I'm running every direction too. So I always like people to know it's not that I have all this time in the world and I am running with kids every direction too. We actually don't get a chance to eat together very often anymore, but I like to call Sunday food prep day. So it doesn't always end up being on a Sunday, but a Sunday night, maybe I'm cooking a bunch of chicken and some veggies and having some starches like a rice or a quinoa or pasta ready. And we can make quick meals. So those would be like the quick grab and go meals, and pretty simple, right? Like, that's so simple. But then the other side of it is doing a crock pot or a casserole. And you could throw those together in the morning. It takes 30 minutes. And then when everyone's running out the door, I literally grab containers. We put containers. I have a little cooler that I take with me. And we often eat on the road. So one of my daughters has to ride her horse 5 days a week, and we're at the horse barns. So her and I are eating in the vehicle or at the horse barns. I have another kid in hockey, eating while traveling to hockey. So again, having it ready to take with you, because look at those hockey players, and I honestly help with nutrition with so many hockey players, is they get to the arena and then they have a burger. Well, we talked about burgers already. There's nothing wrong with making a homemade burger at home because you're having right kinds of protein. But if you're stopping for a fast food burger, your fat content is so high and your poor skater is not going to be able to skate and keep up. So what are we fueling them with? And then after they do their sport, they need to have proper nutrients. They need protein and they need carbs to replenish themselves, and lower amounts of fats and sugars. So trying to find foods that accommodate that. So what if you had a soup ready to go, or a stew or a chili or any of those, and it really only takes 30 minutes. So most of my recipes I create are around that 30 to 45 minute mark to be able to make them, and just grabbing them and go. I like to make double recipes. Everything is doubled up. So I maybe make supper for one night, and the next night it's grab and go because it's in the fridge and go. And my family is really, really good with it now. Like, some people say, oh, I hate leftovers. But when you live a really fast-paced, busy life running with kids, it is just part of your life. And it's just something that I would never complain about, because it's already ready to go and it tastes amazing. Like, make a chef salad and have it ready to go, right? For 4 days it will keep, and you have those in the fridge ready to go. Or we do a cheeseburger salad, which my kids love. Basically has like the Big Mac sauce on it, right? And they're taking those ready to go. So finding something and changing it up so that your kids and your family stay interested in the healthy foods, but doing a bit of food prep day. You have to put some food prep in there. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself like drowning at the end of the night where you get home and you're so hungry. The kids are so hungry. That's when we stop for fast food and put in the prep.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think you're spot on all the things. And if we could just have it, like the thought of just making a casserole and having it like cooking or crock pot during the day is so much easier than, like you said, you come home and you're like, oh, I forgot to take something out, or let's just order in because it's easier. So yeah, I think that's great to know, like to think about that in the background. Okay, so what are some signs that your health might be taking a backseat to your business? Like, what are things that we should be paying attention to?
Adrenal fatigue, where you feel like you are living on caffeine. So if you're constantly living on caffeine and you need that upper, most likely you're showing signs of adrenal fatigue. And that's like your 3 o'clock, you need a coffee, 5 o'clock, you need a coffee. Pay attention to those. We need to address your nutrition within it. The other side is inflammation. So all of a sudden your hands start hurting, your feet are puffy, they start hurting, your joints, any of those things. Those would also be signs that you have inflammation in your body based on probably the foods that you're eating within there. Those are a lot of the first things I would look for. The next thing is, I shouldn't say the next thing. One of the most important things is tired. Being fatigued and needing a little bit more energy within it, and looking at those adrenals first. And I say adrenals with like emphasizing them because the more stress we have, the more adrenal fatigue we start to see. And so that's usually the number one thing that shows up.
Okay, so I'd love to hear a little bit more about your Shape Up for Summer program that you're going to be running. What can people expect and how can they get started with it?
So Shape Up for Summer is a self-guided program. So if you missed my May challenge and you don't want to wait until September to join my next one, the Shape Up Challenge, it's not really a challenge. I would say it's a self-guided program. So you can start it at any time. You can do it as long as you want to do it. So there's 4 weeks, and there's also an extension for 12 weeks that you do. It's $125 for the first 4 weeks, and there's an extension program to it if you decide. Lots of clients also jump onto this before they do a challenge. So if all of a sudden, I'm going to use a teacher as an example, they have the summer off, they actually like to work on their nutrition in the summer because they have the downtime. So they want to jump on a program before September comes. They might start this at the beginning of August and then come straight into my September challenge. So the Shape Up for Summer is all designed around spring and summer recipes. So amazing salads, lots of fruit within them. Things that you're not having to start your oven for. You can use your barbecue. If you don't have a barbecue, you can use the oven, but they're designed more around the season. So there is 3 on my website that are offered, but they're all seasonal. So people will say, what is the difference? There's a fall one, a winter one, and a spring and summer one. And it's just the foods that are readily available at that time to eat. And then thinking about what you want. In the summer, I love to eat salads, but in the winter, I don't necessarily want a salad. I want something warm and hot.
Okay, I think that's great that you've created that program. And plus, like you said, I personally in our family will barbecue way more in the summer. So definitely having like things that are more barbecue friendly make it so much easier to just like pop it out, like have it all prepared. We were usually at the lake, so we'll put it out on the lake and barbecue out there. And so it's nice to make it nice and easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'd love to have like your last little bit of advice that you could give to entrepreneurs or our listeners.
My biggest piece of advice right now is you can start no matter where you're at. So sometimes we feel like it seems intimidating or too much to even start to change your diet, or I can't give up my beer every night, or I can't give up this, I always have snacks at night. And I'll hear the excuses over and over and over again. And really we need to tell ourselves it is an excuse. We're creating an excuse or a crutch within ourselves. And you can do anything. If you want to change your health, you can 100% do it. And joining a program or a support group or something where people are there to support you, to know that you are not alone, it just takes one step, and it can be slow. It doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be huge goals. Maybe you have your first goal just to drink your water. So no matter where you're at in your health journey, you can always improve. You can always eat a little healthier, drink a little more water, and feel better. I honestly my goal in this world is to help people create the best versions of themselves. And I want to change a life one by one so that we truly embrace what it feels like to be confident, proud of the beautiful bodies we have, and be the people that we were meant to be and proud of who we are.
Oh, so beautifully said. I really appreciate you coming on here and chatting with us today. I feel like nutrition is something so important and something that we can very easily, because of time restraints and just feeling overwhelmed and busy, that we can put to the side. And it really is very impactful in our future, how we live our lives currently, like how much energy we have to keep up with the things we're doing, to keep up with our family, but also to think about how that affects us and our bodies and our health. So I think I'm just really so appreciative that you came and talked with us about this.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was such a pleasure.
All right, so I loved having Michelle on to talk about the nutrition, but also the business aspect, because it's just like really fits with our theme of season 3 of like really taking care of ourselves, helping our body feel nurtured and taken care of, and that wellness aspect, and also talking a little bit about that burnout aspect in there. So I just wanted to do a little recap on the episode. I feel like her challenges and the way she's created her community with her Facebook groups is really incredible, and I wanted to really touch on that point because I'm sure you may have seen Facebook challenges over the years multiple times and even tried them yourself and been like, do they really work? Michelle has proof that they really do work when you build them with the heart and the intention and like really wanting to support your community. So yeah, she's in there sometimes, like she said, 7 days a week for a lot of hours, but she's creating such an impact, and she's using those challenges as her tool to really create that connection and be the resource for her community. So I just love how she's built her business and how she's nurtured it, and how she's even progressed past the challenges to create other programs and offerings that support her community even further. And so I just love the business aspect of it. But then I also really wanted to make sure we touched on the health aspect, because as she said, like with her family having some health issues, she wanted to make sure that she was setting herself up for a strong, healthy body that could keep up with her kids and her family, but also be strong and healthy for herself and for her body, so that she was setting herself up for success as much as you possibly can by taking care of herself and being healthy and nutritious. I also loved how she talked about like small changes in nutrition can have a really, really big ripple effect in your energy, your mindset, and your ability to grow sustainably. So I want you to think about how can you make, even if they're just small changes in your nutrition today, maybe it is just getting more water in there. Maybe it is like moving for a little bit, like 30 minutes or 10 minutes of movement throughout the day, just so that you're getting some movement and you're taking care of yourself. But how can we make like little baby steps to start taking care of ourselves better so that our bodies can feel like they're well nourished and ready for anything, and that our energy levels are able to keep us up with all the things that we have going on during the day. And as you know, like I've had definitely energy issues, and so I think this topic in this conversation has been really, really impactful for me, and so I really hope that it is impactful for you. And then finally, I love that we touched on the topic of burnout, because this is something that I wanted this whole season to be about. It's like the summertime, so it's a time to kind of relax and enjoy, but also really look in and reflect on how are we taking care of ourselves? Are we seeing if we are going into adrenal fatigue? Are we low on our energy? Are we feeling like we're getting burnt out? And so how can we start investing in ourselves and our well-being? And that could be by joining nutrition challenges with Michelle to really take care of yourself and just learning how to take care of ourselves, or recipes that we can use, or little tips and secrets so we can start adding in those baby steps so we can start feeling better. So I just really am so thankful to Michelle for joining us. I feel like this was such a great conversation about how we can take care of ourselves, how we can nurture ourselves and nourish ourselves to see the best in our lives and our businesses, and even just who we are and how we feel day to day. And finally, I just want to invite you to the Be Bold conference on October 7th this year at the Whitewood Barn. This is a moment to get into the room with incredible women in business, to nourish your soul, your heart, and re-energize your mindset in terms of what you want to achieve this year and how we're going to achieve it, to plan, to really think about what we want and how we can set up our lives, our business, and everything to go along with those goals. So if you don't have your ticket yet, make sure to get them at the Be Bold conference. I'll put the link below. It's at jenkindle.com, but you can definitely check it out in the show notes. I would love to have you there. This day is honestly so magical, and it's a day filled with incredible entrepreneurs incredible speakers, and you will have so much impact in your business just from being in the room. So I will definitely see you there.